Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Wednesday. It's July 3rd, 2024. Tomorrow is 4th of July, Independence Day in America. Beautiful day today. Hope it is wherever you are. It's supposed to be really hot tomorrow, I believe, though. For all those that have plans, barbecue plans and such. But I'm interested to see, and also right after, the day after, we have the new moon in Cancer. So that should be an interesting energy that we're already more or less building up to right now as we speak. So I will probably speak on that more than likely on the 5th. Probably won't want to dig into that tomorrow, but who knows, maybe see how the spirit guides and leads. All right, one more cut and then we'll get to it. Oh, the spirit guidance as we speak with the Hermit card. Ascended mastery, internal discovery, self-mastery, of course, which I believe ultimately leads to ascended mastery when you're committed to it in a high vibrational way, committed to being guided on that journey in spirit and in truth. I'm sorry. Oh wow, the Emperor card. Sorry for that pause. I was looking out for my maintenance man, and he strangely has pulled up right outside my window, if that is him in that truck. So I was trying to see, because I kind of need to flag him down. So sorry for that long pause. But you look at this here, the Hermit and the Emperor. So leading an internal discovery of power. Ooh, and strength. Oh, and the Pearl card. Oh my goodness, on account of perhaps a great experience of trauma, and mainly trauma. Now you're leaving. Yup, that was him too. Damn it. Oh man. But anyway, trauma. This is the cycle being closed out before the World card. That's what's being left behind to take this new journey, or because you may have had the ambition to embark upon a new path of discovery, particularly from the inside out, walking away from things that were no longer of service or no longer satisfied, overcoming trauma and maybe even some toxicity, generational cycles. Perhaps with the Three of Swords, you closed all of that out in the past world cycle, in the cycle that has passed, and now are embarking upon a new beginning. It's like what you set out to manifest, create, achieve with very little resources at the time, nothing but more or less your blind ambition and faith, is what ultimately has manifested in the frequency that it exists now, with this what's come out of it, again, is mastery. This is like double mastery, because this is like self-control, security, prosperity, definitely creativity, but certainly off of the strength card, that means having balanced, or I would say even mastered, the expression of your ego. You know, that there is a time and a place for it, and a presence that it gets to pronounce at times, or it has a value, you know, in the presence of your life at times, but that it is under your command, not the other way around. Not provoked by external experiences, projections, circumstances, occurrences, favorable or unfavorable. It's like really someone that has gone within and maybe gained some clarity of the origins of any imbalance, particularly by way of pride and ego. Release those things, or release themselves from those things, and emerge this powerful presence in the human flesh. Though a lot of spirit energy here emphasized with the strength and the hermit, but it's all centered in your physical being in the 3D world, which is like, wow. Nothing to take for granted or take lightly. A great accomplishment indeed, as pronounced by the World card, where you more or less have a great deal to be proud of yourself and your accomplishments up to this point. It's like a major accomplishment or achievement that's been made, and in this case it really is just about understanding, well, I would say discovery, understanding, and acceptance of your spiritual essence expressed and actualized through your physical presence. Yeah. So go you. And you know, as I said, like, you had to be guided through that journey. And consider the emperor with all of his, you know, I don't know, bravado and power and might and authority, having to still have deference to the supernatural or the spiritual realm, you know, the universe, the source of all. That's it. That's the strength, right? That in itself is a great is a great expression of true character, to know when to take the reins and when, you know, you got to call for some reinforcement or upgrade your knowledge, expand your knowledge, or literally be guided and directed on the proper path. That's true strength. It doesn't take away from power to know when it's time, and to know how to do that gracefully at that, and graciously with gratitude. And I'm speaking of that because this is about my mindset and energy here with the Emperor and the strength. This is masculine or feminine listening, that you knew exactly when to turn up the energy on either side, to be receptive and and maybe, you know, in some ways passive, or yeah, and then when also to be proactive and aggressive at in some ways, like finding that great balance, even amidst the provocation to, in a lot of ways in the world that we inhabit, to act sheerly out of your primal nature, exclusively out of your primal nature, to want to even preserve your ego by way of survival mode, you know, when it feels threatened, and when it feels trumped or challenged, being able to recognize what that really is, and also deciphering what of that is, again, internal, a trigger of internal trauma, or even past trauma, knowing how to separate yourself from that cycle and almost like realign yourself with a new frequency of order. That's a lot. That's a lot to have done in a lifetime. Because all of that of which I'm speaking of is what was mastered in this lifetime. If you believe in past lives, past experiences, existences, other dimensions, all of that, you don't have to. But of course, there was, if you do, then there was training and conditioning and trial and error throughout all of those experiences that even still, you would have had to have been able, I feel chills. You would have had to have been able to align yourself in a certain frequency of submission as the Page of Wands, to be open to explore new territories, new ideals, new information, to be guided, to be taught, to even consider the possibility of a past life or a past existence in this lifetime, of which you don't come here conditioned to believe. All of that would have had to have been achieved, accomplished, to even be able to access more or less like the life lessons that you may have acquired or accumulated. And it comes in a matter of energy, you know, and all of that, all of those records, so to speak, you know, of your past experiences to be accessed in this present experience, to even overcome the trials and tribulations of which many you've already visited. But in this lifetime, you would have had to have put yourself in a position to access that information, to bring it into justice and completion. Here it is in this breath of life. So it's not like you just came here. Any of us would just come here ready and able to kind of take on our destiny, championing the cause of releasing these old cycles in this lifetime. Because when you get here, you're not, like I said, you're not conditioned or taught or even directed, unless you have certain, you know, upbringing, which most of us do not, because most of our caregivers didn't even have this, you know, this training and upbringing to look out for that and be aware and cognizant of it before you begin to recreate it. It happens backwards for most of us, where we already begin to perpetuate those old cycles based on our present conditioning, which is really just a recycling of past lifetimes and past experiences now, before we either by God are awakened to have a self-awareness about what we're doing, you know, to kind of see the signs and signals and synchronicities of what is being created in our life experience that is unfavorable, which is usually, you know, the telltale sign that it's something that is a cycle that gets to be broken or released, or we find our way to, you know, some type of teacher or guide or way shower in the physical form that is qualified and trustworthy enough to kind of show us the way, you know, or at least point us in the right direction to that path. But I'm talking about somebody that found that teacher and that way through their internal, their understanding. You know, it wasn't something that was picked up in their upbringing. It wasn't an influence from childhood. It wasn't hell, I mean, even if you encounter certain teachers along the way, you still kind of have to have the like the wisdom and the insight to know that this is your teacher or this is a teacher. Even circumstances, you know, people, places, and things, i.e. circumstances that are here to teach you, to direct you in that frequency. You still would have to kind of have the cognition to perceive it. And that comes by way of this stage here, of being open and willing, adventurous, curious about your creative force. Because a lot of times when we're at this stage, which is very vulnerable, this energy that we possess often becomes a possession of some other force, whether it be, you know, society overall, or the world, you know, absorbs it for its own frequency, or the mechanism that it wants to transfer it into. Other leaders that may recognize your potential and filtrate it, you know, or not filtrate it, but reroute it to other agendas. Could be parents and family or friends or whatever that suppress this energy from growing beyond its early development. And that happens sometimes, it's particularly, like I said, with caregivers and families, because of their conditioning to see a certain potential in you and to feel compelled to control it, or to suppress it. So, I mean, like I said, it's nothing to take lightly here as to how someone has evolved at this point to really become a master of their creative influence and power here in the highest frequency, though, because there is so much to overcome from our inception into this realm, that for you to be in a position such as this, you have to know at this point how powerful you must be. All right, let's see what else we got here. Knight of Cups, some offer of endearment. Oopsie. King of Wands. That's the flex of power, yeah, with the Five of Cups. Be mindful of gift horses is what I just felt. Those that are looking like they're coming with something of value or something of, you know, that would satisfy you to offer. Say in that Eight of Cups energy, where you you're on your way to some new experience of life, and here comes someone that seems to be offering you that 9 of Cups on, knight in shining armor on that horse, the 9 that you are in search of, that would give you that wish fulfillment, ultimate satisfaction. It leads to the it could lead to the 5 disappointment, this grave dissatisfaction, maybe even depression with the 5 of Cups and destruction. You're already at such a high level of achievement at this point that anything that approaches you as less than what you are, less than what you're exhibiting, even if it doesn't mean to be a detriment to your life, it could be a distraction. It just could be, or it would definitely at this point be something that you would find yourself offering more of yourself to than reciprocating a reward from, or a return from, or there being a reciprocation of a reward or return from. And there may be a time and a place for that, but I feel like this is a delicate time. This is like the beginning of this expression of identity that may take some adjustment and some getting comfortable and used to. So be mindful of energies that may be more opportunistic in seeing your your progress and your, not just progress, but your advancement as it is, and wanted to align with that. And they may come offering the best that they have to offer, and it be with the best of intentions. But I feel something on this that, as you're getting used to, especially with that King of Wands that was here on the bottom of the deck, you have to be selective right now in this season about what you lend your power to, what you wield it for, what you assert it for, even what you offer yourself as a protective force for. Like you may even be incited on account of such great advancement to want to jump out and help the first person you see. Like, who can I help? What can I do? How can I serve? And that's great, and you will. But allow your vision, allow your perspective of yourself to realign with your advancement as it is, because you may still not be able to see yourself as this energy that you are in, because it's happening. It may have happened kind of like, under your nose a bit, but it also is still in process, and more so the process of settlement within your own spirit. So it may leave you vulnerable and to a great degree. It's like you've learned how to master yourself on one level. You've achieved the level of security and assertiveness that was needed to even get you to this place, but this is a whole nother frequency. It's like literally needing to advance your security levels for yourself first and foremost, not to be paranoid or afraid or anything like that, or not even to be super isolated or anything, like reclusive or anything like that, but it's just to really fully understand what power you really truly are working with before you just start dispersing it here and there, because you may feel compelled to help or to be of service in ways that may take more out of you and than what it should. honestly. And then, you know, there's still a conservation of power that may need to happen here just so you can stabilize your, you know, get grounded as to all that you truly do possess in this time. And also to here it is again, to submit yet again through this upgrade to that spiritual direction as to what you are assigned to do with this new acquired influence and access. Because you may have an idea of who gets to be helped or who gets to be served, and the spirit may have something completely different in mind, not so much on account of being selfish, but more so being selective for the purposes of your protection and conservation, and also for the protection of those that, you know, sometimes it's like, you know how they say keep people honest, like don't even put people in a position to have to pretty much like incriminate themselves, usually speaking in terms of like stealing, you know, like don't leave your wallet out, or don't even tempt a human being with that choice, you know, because when survival mode is kicked in, some may be liable to do anything, and some people are still striving through, and some struggling through survival mode in a way that your kindness might be exploited or taken advantage of, especially with so much to lose and so much to gain at the same time, and so much to offer, quite honestly, in a way that the spirit may see beyond your eyes to protect you from, and also to protect, you know, that intention incoming as well, you know, like before they even present themselves or put themselves in a position to be incriminating, like for instance, somebody that you encounter that seems to be disadvantaged, and it may not be like materially or like you know, it could be disadvantaged in any way. Like you have something that they need. And like I said, keeping people honest, they get into your force field and realize, oh shoot, it's more in here than I thought there was. And just that human instinct kicks in to want to try to absorb as much as possible and take advantage in ways that they may not even mean to be of harm. But they just, you know, it's survival of the fittest in this realm. So they will. But because you weren't in alignment and integrity with the boundaries that have been pronounced in the spirit, because your human eyes just want to serve, you may be putting yourself in harm's way, and also almost inadvertently sacrificing someone else by allowing that access in ways that just is not sanctioned, and it's just not good for anybody. You know, just you may be able to help from a higher seat of influence than what you can perceive in a more intimate one, is what I'm saying. But initially coming into this energy, maybe not even recognizing this advancement in yourself yet, you may not be holding yourself to that standard, let alone that level of security and that standard of boundaries, because you're not perceiving it yet. So I don't know why I feel the need to say that, but clearly some major upgrades are in order, and you're privy to a great deal of power and authority, access and influence that maybe you've never really even if you knew it existed, or it was there was potential to access it, pardon me, you've never been quite activated in it or actualized in that frequency like you are now, or like you're about to be. That comes with a different level of responsibility and accountability, because the stakes are just higher than they were when you had less to protect and less to govern. So yeah, be careful. I don't know why. Just be mindful, I guess. Not really careful. Because clearly, if I'm saying all that, yeah, you care a great deal as the Six of Pentacles. You want to help. You want to be of service to the community, and you will, and you can in due timing and under the proper circumstances. Whatever that may be, I just feel like I'm supposed to say that. Just, I guess what it really can look like is, you know, being like, stay tapped in, just as tapped in as you were to get to where you are. Be tapped in about how you share that reality, you know, that favor, I guess, you know, like, got extra money in your pocket now, got extra resources, maybe you got more than enough, and you have you're in a position where maybe you can hire people, or you can give to charity, or whatever it is. Like, just stay tapped in spiritually to exactly where that influx of energy gets to be invested for the greatest good. Yeah. So that there's no missteps that would ultimately jeopardize, you know, your position, because you want to be able to help as many and to do as much as you possibly can. You want to be able to do that. So I guess it just matters to be mindful of how you do, and the decisions and discernment that goes into that disbursement of charity or support in whatever way that looks like, so that you can do the most and not be depleted in a way where it could do multiple things. You could lend your energy to something that is out of alignment and end up taking a hit, where then you can't help as much as you would like to, or you miss the opportunity to help where it mattered most, because you were over here doing this, you know, with that person or this organization or whatever. Or you could jump out the window just throwing money around, or opportunities and advancement and whatever it is that you have to offer, you just letting it rip. And then you do encounter that energy that takes advantage, and then it almost recoils you into, into resistance to want to help because of that one encounter. Like it spoils your perspective. And so then you don't help anybody, or you're even more selective than what you necessarily need to be. And so therefore, somebody that really is slated to receive your support or your assistance that is assigned to you may miss out. And that, on account of your stringent boundaries now. And that can set a chain reaction, unfortunately, that ultimately can backfire on you and creation overall, because we all have an assignment. And so when one is out of order, it can, butterfly effect and send a whole lot of things out of whack, So just keep yourself in a position to do the absolute best and most that you possibly can for yourself and for creation, as you feel assigned and aligned to do so. My incense is like choking me up today. All right, so we got the Four of Swords. That's the rest and rejuvenation after trauma, regenerating your energy. Yeah, so that's what it's giving me. It's like you are still really recuperating or regenerating, I should say. So you kind of got to let yourself finish that process completely before you can effectively be of service, because as you're still coming into wholeness and healedness, not to say you aren't, because there's a great deal of achievement, so there are a lot of that has already happened, but this speaks to me, as I was saying, more about the settlement with this new reality and identity that I don't think anybody has fully come to terms with who they are in this new season of life. It's literally a renewal that's happening for all of creation. And you may have the foresight to kind of see where you're headed, or the insight to see, where you're destined to go. But the physical experience, your mind, your spirit, mind, and body being all in alignment together within this reality, that's still happening for everybody. Nobody has achieved that knowing fully and completely, even if you have it in one area or the other. The physicality of it is still taking place because the world is still turning into this new era. It's literally still manifesting and crystallizing as new as we speak right now, or as I speak right now. So to settle with that identity void of trauma is what I'm sensing, because it's like this is like the Three of Swords up here, and this is the Ace of Swords down here. Like to settle and almost being in between those realities, right? To settle with, to find acceptance and peace and groundedness within an identity void of trauma is an adjustment all its own, because we've been so conditioned to kind of be wounded warriors, to be fighting wounded, or as athletes play hurt and all, it's like all to just kind of be living with this bleeding heart, so of sorts, like the Three of Swords, that to actually be void of that infliction, to be void of insecurities, to be void of fear, to be void of doubt, faithlessness, unforgiveness, rage, and like all of those densities that were inflicted or that were I guess inflicted is the word, on account of trauma. To be void of toxicity, to be a non-toxic being in the world for the most part. It's like, can you even imagine? It's like literally, in comparison in the physical sense to being an ultra clean eater. Like you don't eat no processed foods, you don't, only organic fruits, and I mean real organic, like you grew them, so you know where they came from, fruits and vegetables and grains and nuts and berries, like of the earth type of energy. Like to live on that frequency, can you imagine? For those that don't live like that, which I'm assuming most of anybody that I'm speaking to probably doesn't. You may be a vegetarian or even a vegan, but there's still something that's, incorporated in your diet that, is contrary to that lifestyle to some degree. Even if you think you're buying organic vegetables, a lot of times these days you're really not, so imagine like living on the highest frequency of energy when you've been used to surviving at the lowest. That's interesting. Ooh, what was that? Oh, the Empress, exactly. And then the the Page of Cups. Yeah, like purifying your spiritual nature. Yeah, that's what you've done, and now you're becoming comfortable with that, like the purification of your spiritual nature at its foundation. It's still a fish in this cup. Like I said, there's still some cleansing happening in progress, you know. So yeah, it's okay to commit yourself to the process, even of becoming, you know, even of, or I should say, of settling. Yeah, look at that, with your power and your newfound power and authority over yourself, more than anything else. It's okay to allow yourself to really get cozy, and because I feel like the impulse may be, and it could even be projected, you know, which is why I'm saying it the way that I am. The impulse could even be for you, like, you got it, like type of energy, you know, like say you win the lottery, you know, and then you feel like this, almost this guilt or feel like an obligation to go and help every family member, every friend, everybody that you love, everybody that you care for. Like, now you got it. You should feel no resistance or hesitation whatsoever to want to give it, right? Maybe, but in all that I just said, maybe not. Maybe everybody is not attached to the assignment of your wealth and your prosperity in this season. And for some, you know, you may have always had the idea, maybe that was your motivation, you know, that's ultimately what sent you on this destined path, to be better, to evolve, to grow, to advance, because you wanted to be that one, as the King of Pentacles, masculine or feminine, to create generational wealth for your legacy, past, present, and future. Maybe that was, you know, the motivation that activated you, and rightfully so. It's honorable and, you know, it's noble. However, what I was saying is, based off of that example, you know, like you may feel like, well, I got it now. I can give it to everybody, to whoever needs it. You get a car, you get a car, you get a house, you get a, you know, like paying everybody's credit cards off, paying everybody's debts down to zero, you know, like we free, y'all, we free. And that would be a dream come true for, I would say, probably a great deal of folks that are in the energy of like this in the first place, to have the ambition and drive to advance themselves is usually, and have done so in such a magnificent way. It's usually not exclusively for personal reasons, like self-gratifying reasons. Of course, there's some of that up in there, but usually there is an extra motivation. But what I'm saying is that maybe the moment you do come into the material possession of your fortune, you should probably take a pause for the cause of making conscious decisions before you impulsively just start dispersing things as you see fit. Maybe you need to set some foundations in order, of which you, having advanced a high mind in some way, and in some way, shape, and form, particularly spiritually, maybe you get to summons the way that translates over into the natural sense. Because, I mean, point blank period, even as practical as I'm saying it, you may not be used to the advancement and access that you're privy to. Imagine going from the Six of Pentacles, where, you know, you get along okay, to advance into the King of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, where you got so much money that, or so much resource that you couldn't even really spend it in a lifetime. I mean, you always really could, right? With just a few bad investments, which is the point, but you can't even fathom how you would. So therefore, you can't fathom how you wouldn't start to give it away as much as you know, as you see fit to do so. Ground yourself first. Figure out what things need to be set in place, because now you've become the executor of this estate. So if you go and give away everything you have to everyone you love, you don't have anyone to blame for the limitations of the future, of which you're supposed to plan for with all of this favor, but yourself. You're not going to be able to go back and retrieve what you gave away. Like, remember that $1 million I had gave you? You think I could get a couple of them dollars? Like, it'll probably be long gone, especially if you're giving it out of assignment or out of alignment. For some, that may look like establishing foundations or businesses or trusts or structures in which the money is making it, you know, is being, you know, regenerated, so that it's not a matter of cash and carry, like we out, you know. There might be a little bit of that, but you have the responsibility at this level as an emperor to make wise, empowered, and enlightened decisions about the material favor that's being awarded to you. And yes, it's on account of your hard work, dedication, and devotion that you have rightfully earned it. But with that also comes a responsibility not only to maintain it, but to actually figure out a way to magnify it. And as I said, that could come, you may see the immediate need here and want to serve, but it may be the grounded perspective to put things in place so that nobody ever has to worry about putting their hand out again, not even within the family that you want to serve and help. That there's, you know, set people up to live, you know, to really shift the dynamic of prosperity overall, so that it's not like a what do you call it, like a wow, I just heard it, like a quick fix, you know, or like a prescriptive remedy, you know. It's the cure of poverty, of scarcity, of survival mode for generations beyond you. Yeah. Ooh, and the Empress is back. Well, I'll be. That's that on that. You got the power, you have the authority, you have the creativity, and you got you have the heart. So that, I think that's why I keep saying, you know, don't allow yourself to be influenced, even internally, because sometimes that old conditioning can kick in. For that, it don't even have to be externally projected for you to start to feel bad, like, oh, well, I should be doing this or doing that. Like I said, and this solidifies it, you have the heart and the disposition for service and for nurturing and taking care. You know, you have that, or you wouldn't be gifted this favor in the first place. So don't even allow yourself to tell yourself, you know, to guilt yourself into something impulsive on account of wanting to answer to a certain expectation or obligation of what you think it should look like to be prosperous and productive. Maybe even to be the patriarch or the matriarch of your legacy, if nothing else, because of the prosperity and influence and power that you possess. Maybe not even by age or anything, but you could take on that role because of what you've acquired. And that is the destined role that you were, like you were positioned to do that because you asserted yourself as the proper candidate. So don't psych yourself out to think that it should look like something different than what you feel guided for it to be, because that's what matters most. And that's what's going to be most lasting. That's the thing that's going to actually benefit everybody in the long run. In the short run too, I'm sure it'll be figured out a way to serve on all levels, like what's needed now and what's needed for the future. But just don't jump into it head first without grounding yourself and finding your footing and what this all means for you first. There's no pressure. There's no, no timeline or deadline. Your highest, the calling that you answer to now at this point, being the emperor and the empress on the board, is source and your supreme self. Certainly nobody that would have their hand out and insisting upon any, and commanding any, or I should say demanding any return can have any say so. That it's not working like that. I don't care who they are. They can, you could hear grievances out as you will, propositions and, and requests, but it's on you to do what's best overall at this time. And here's the the Three of Wands. Great expectations, so that you could always be looking forward to more. Not like you get this windfall, which happens. If you watch YouTube, I'm sure at some point in time you've come across those posts where it's like people that won the lottery and lost it all, because you don't know how to act when you get a whole bunch of money in your pocket when you never had any. It's a whole nother frequency of energy and power and access that you have to be conditioned to manage properly. Many of us at worst know how to manage poverty. We know how to shuffle a bill over here, rob Peter, pay Paul, pay Peter next month or next week, or do a little of this over here to make these ends meet. We know how to do that. But what about when you got so much and that discipline and self-control and balancing your resources? All of that has to come into play, of which you may have little training to actually do. So it's something here like, wow, there's the balance, the temperance, the self-control, moderation. So maybe that's what, like I said, that's what needs to be summoned on this new level. See how it's like, this is not the Magician, which is more earthly, or even the Two of Pentacles, which is that balance and act in despair or in lack. at times. This is temperance, managing a spiritual, managing spiritual affluence. That's the culmination of all the things. The spiritual upgrade, the material level up and advancement, you know, the new energy and power and influence that comes along with all of that. This is finding your balance with every level of success. And I just feel like spiritual affluence is the term that I like to use. That may take some time. May not take a long time, but it may take some time just to get comfortable with the reality that it is true. Like, all this for me? No. You know, like, you kind of got to get through those stages of like becoming aware, but then disbelief, and then rejecting it, and, you know, then maybe go through a bout of imbalance where you maybe splurge a little more than what you've ever been able to do before, and then you're giving a little more, you know, all of those things. But it's something about really allowing yourself to go through that process before you spin out, you know, or crash out. Really, as I said, staying in devotion to spirit, staying tapped in, staying in alignment, so that you almost get direct instructions dollar for dollar. Maybe not holistically, because you might go buy that car, go buy that house, or, you know, treat yourself a little bit. And I don't think that there's much of a problem with that, but everything in balance. You still need to keep your footing firm as you do, because there's an assignment attached to favor. There just is. It's not just for you, and it's not to overindulge in the sensations of the world. No. That may be part of the reward and the benefit of it all. But if you are not able to do the assignment, you may fail. And then that will put you in a position where you either are back to where you were, or if not worse, at that Two of Pentacles. And as I said, some people may not be able, some people have an energetic expectation of for your advancement to benefit them, and they may not even know how so, or where it's coming from, or when. But just like you had the faith to wait for your ships to come in, somebody else, on account of yours having come, is waiting in that same expectation. And you would not want to disappoint your spiritual assignment on account of being lustful. You know, like, nah. Or just, yeah, there's the justice. They waiting on it. Cause and effect, natural order, spiritual order. Your level up definitely sets off a chain of events for someone else's. But it just might not be the way that you always thought. It may not be through the ambitions that drove you to this very place. It may not be that way. It just may not. Prepare yourself for that truth. Yeah, and it may not be favorable to for some to accept your decisions, your discernment, you know, your way of doing things. It may not, but that shouldn't influence you anymore either. Don't be pushed into obligation on account of what other folks might feel, some entitlement to. Or even pushed into fear over what people may be in competition for or over. Like, you Just stay focused on you. Here it is, Two of Pentacles. Like I said, should I come here? Yeah, I'm gonna stay here. You still coming out of that. This is what you still healing from. Finding balance between when you had very little and you had to make it work, to now this reality of having an overflow. You know? Five of Pentacles, having very little. Maybe you didn't have a home and now you're about to get your dream home, or you've been living in apartments all your life and now you're about to, you're getting upgraded. It's a completely different situation to go from living in an apartment to owning your own property. That is an adjustment. Maybe you were walking and on public transportation and now you about to buy your car straight off the lot. No other previous owner but you. But now you got a car payment. Now you got gas. Now you got insurance. Now you got repairs. Got to keep the oil changed. Like, there's the adjustment. So, you know, I won't say it's easy to do with little, but certainly, I mean, Biggie said, more money, more problems. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way, because hell, if that's the case, I can deal with the problems. But there's definitely more to account for when you have more to manage. So get ready, get ready. Four of Cups, missed opportunity, rejection, resistance. What's on the bottom? Let me see. Because I don't feel like that's you. Or you may feel left out. Let me see what's on the bottom. Oh, Temperance again. Yeah, I was going to say, like, you may feel left out of spaces and places that you once were familiar to or well welcomed in because of this elevation of status, and also on account of how you've decided to set yourself apart from service. You know, like, maybe you might not get the invitation as much to hang out once people realize that it's not open season to your resources. You know, or you may, on account of your decision of how to protect your energy and govern yourself, there may be times when you miss, pardon me, when you are left out of certain, you're discluded, you know, whether it's a personal choice or it happens by circumstance, you know, and I don't know, I just feel something on that could be the only reason why the King of Pentacles would be experiencing the Four of Cups. Or other people may feel discluded or have missed an opportunity to be connected with you, you know, or may feel rejected from the access that they once had or would like to have to you. There's that part too, but either way, there's still like the separation from the inside out and outside in. Your decisions may actually be the catalyst for that feeling of rejection, but stay grounded, stay the course. Like, this is the energy to answer to at this point. Is it in alignment or not? Is that gathering, that party, that girl's trip, that relationship, whatever it is, everything has to be run through this spiritual, what do you call it? Like to almost have like a spiritual filter, so to speak. And that can be annoying for people that don't live on that frequency. It's like, oh, this motherfucker, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you can't just say yes to the baby shower. You can't come to Christmas dinner. You know, like, you're not gonna come to your cousin's graduation. It's like, maybe you don't want to go because you don't, you know, like, there could be a reason or whatever. You got to protect your energy because that's your money maker. So I'm not saying be a jerk or be a bitch, but like I said, you got a higher calling to answer to now. And whether the little do they all know is that your devotion and integrity, the devotion to integrity is beneficial for everybody. They just might not be able to see the immediate return or benefit to them. But it is. I flipped in reverse. I'm gonna keep it because this is about questioning, especially right under the 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, like being mindful of emotional attachments that are expired. You know, could even speak to past life, like I was talking about earlier, past life relationships or relational dynamics. It could be in family, could be friends, could be intimate partners, could be foes, you know, but ultimately to be mindful to steer clear of recycling those energies again in different forms in a different body, because those are the pitfalls that have a direct impact on your prosperity in this lifetime. Recognizing the recycling of trauma and traumatic experiences and toxic connections, and not being charmed into feeling obligated to uphold any commitment there on account of what should be done or has always been done, you know, or even the deference of the relationship itself. It's like, if it doesn't, again, back to that Temperance card, if it doesn't hold water in the spirit, then it can't hold water in truth. And you really have to discern what it's worth to sacrifice your entire fortune for it. Just to be able to say you maintained it. Like, oh, well, I was always loyal to my family. I was always loyal to my boyfriend, you know, but is that loyalty really, is it proven itself to be valuable in this lifetime? And not even just in this lifetime, also in this season. Because maybe in past seasons, as we're turning over a new leaf, it had a place. But there's for this to be in reverse, this is like a codependent, toxic connection. That the only place that it truly has is the fact that it's familiar. And that doesn't qualify as something, to me anyway, as something worth risking an entire legacy for. That's one of those energies that plays on your insecurities, or that density of shame and guilt that makes you feel devout to things, people, places, or things that you know for a fact are only a disturbance or a distraction for you. But they entitled to your energy, and they may be and they may be insistent upon maintaining the connection. But that's connected here with this Four of Cups too, but that's when you get to raise your boundaries and strengthen your security measures in spirit and in truth, and stand your ground, like, unapologetically. Ain't no nepotism in the spirit. Everybody still gotta fend for themselves and prove their own worth and value. Hell, even you did, because you may have come here with a great deal of access to wealth and favor, but you still had to earn the right to receive it. You didn't just come here and it was laid in your lap. Quite the contrary. Most of us have had to fight more in spirit than anything, but some of us in the flesh to gain access to what was inherited. Hell, some of us are still fighting. There's that Five of Cups again, but it was too much on the bottom. That's what that leads to, though. That Six of Cups in reverse takes you right into the Five of Cups. Depression, shame, guilt, despair, nothing good. Almost a Magician card. Let's go. Let's refresh. One more card. Ooh, Ten of Swords. Wow. Even more of a depiction of what that leads to. Just like Spirit wanted to make sure for you in the back, that you heard that loud and clear. This is what it leads to. Sabotage, betrayal, nothing good. And ultimately it'll be you sabotaging yourself with all the wisdom, knowledge, understanding, overstanding, and understanding of what you're facing. You have that because you've gotten yourself to this point. So that's why I was speaking so much about regressing back to this, like, submissive state. But it's a matter of what you're regressing, what you're submitting to, because this regression is not a good one. That's the journey to re-establishing toxic cycles and generational curses and all the things that you've worked so hard to eradicate yourself from. And that could look like reestablishing a connection with someone that you've already been told is not to be reestablished or regenerated, and to find yourself back here, even worse off probably than you started at the Ten of Swords. This is the end, a very brutal end. No relationship, no connection, a loss of energy and stability here, probably a loss of resources. Yeah, so that's why it's important, like I'm saying, to really discern, stay tapped in as to how you're sharing the wealth in this season. Because you got it to share, but you want to be able to keep it, to maintain it for more than just the meantime. We're talking about lifetimes with an S of generations to benefit from the hard work and dedication that you have culminated from lifetimes of struggle in this breath of existence. Guard that like it's the only thing that matters, because really it kind of is. Anything or anyone that's not understanding of that perspective is out of alignment of assignment, at least at this time. And even still, they might still be within that fold, but this is definitely not anything that you would have to answer to when you're operating in integrity. So all that matters is that you stay focused on the assignment and the direction of Spirit's guidance, so that hopefully one day they'll come around and realize that it was all for them, and they'll be in a position to receive it as such in that divine timing and in that divine order. Not a moment too soon, though. Yeah, so that's that on that. 10 of course. Look, they still here. And look, the Hangman. And is this the Magician? Yup. Remember, I was talking like it's not the Magician. It's not just about material manifestation. We're talking like it's bigger than that now. And here's the energy that will want to regress you back to where you're just counting dollars and cents so that they can count your dollars and cents and have some entitlement to it, and to put you right back in a position of ultimately, waiting to be released or to be in a position to, to be liberated for your own security and stability. But you done with that. You can't answer to this aggression anymore. There's no need. There's no response except for it to stand your ground and to maintain healthy boundaries for you. Wow. Need I say more? Queen of Pentacles. Protecting the fortune because you are the fortune. And everything of what I said is the security measure to activate and to keep in place. You ain't got to get scary. You don't have to be paranoid every time you want to go out and have a good time or shop or go to the family functions or whatever it is that you choose to do in integrity. You can do that. Just make sure that you're always staying tapped in and tuned in to what the spirit says. That means sometimes it might be time to go and leave the barbecue a little earlier than you even anticipated. Energy getting a little funny. All right, I'll talk to y'all. You know what I mean? Or cut the conversation short, or hell, release, stop dating that person, or cut some friends off. Like whatever it takes to protect the wealth of you. It's within your responsibility to do it. You're more than equipped and more than supported in spirit beyond anything else. So, great reading. Congratulations for the rewards of your hard work and dedication. God bless and Godspeed, because you don't have an easy task ahead of you to really manage the wealth of your legacy and the way in which you are, you've been more or less promoted to do so. But it will be a fulfilling one. I can guarantee that. It's designed to be fulfilling, even with its challenges, because you deserve that. So I hope that you lean more into the fulfillment of it and continuously release the heaviness of it, the stress and strain and pressure more so than anything of it all. And just allow yourself to be light in spirit and in truth, and you'll be guided and directed exactly the way that you need to be to stay safe and secure. All right, but yeah, good luck, God bless, and Godspeed. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with